You watch finance videos. You know budgeting is important. You know saving money matters. You know investing is better than letting your money sleep. You've heard about emergency funds, index funds, compound interest, inflation, debt traps, lifestyle inflation, and maybe even the 50-30-20 rule. And yet, somehow, your bank account still looks like it's recovering from a war. Your investments are still small. Your savings disappear every few months, and every payday feels less like progress and more like a reset button. So here's the uncomfortable question. Why are financially aware people still financially stuck? Because here's the truth. Knowing about money is not the same as building wealth. Watching fitness videos does not give you abs. Watching cooking videos does not make dinner appear. And watching investing videos does not magically create a portfolio. Financial awareness is a good start, but it is only the start. In this video, we're going to break down why many smart, financially aware people still don't move forward, and what actually creates progress. And before you think, oh no, this is another video telling me to stop buying coffee, no, your iced coffee is not the villain. The real problem is deeper than that.
Number 1, you confuse learning with action. The first reason financially aware people stay stuck is this. They keep learning, but they don't keep executing. There's a big difference between consuming finance content and changing your financial behavior. A lot of people can explain inflation. They can explain compound interest. They can tell you why VU has a low expense ratio, why credit card debt is dangerous, or why emergency funds matter. But ask them, do you track your expenses? Do you invest every month? Do you know your net worth? Do you have a plan for your debt? And suddenly, silence. Because learning feels productive. Watching videos feels productive. Reading posts feels productive. But sometimes learning becomes a comfortable way to avoid doing. It gives you the feeling of progress without the discomfort of action. It's like watching 50 videos about how to swim while still standing beside the pool. At some point, you have to jump in. Financial progress usually comes from boring, repeated actions, saving a fixed amount every payday, paying down debt even when it feels slow, investing consistently even when the market feels scary, tracking expenses even when you don't like what you see. These things are not exciting. They do not feel like a breakthrough. There's no dramatic music, no "congratulations, you are now rich" notification. But this is where progress happens. Awareness tells you what to do. Action turns it into results.
Number 2, you have too much information, but no system.
The second reason is this. You have information, but you don't have a system. Most financially aware people are not lacking information. They have too much. One video says save 20%. Another says invest everything. One person says buy real estate, another says buy index funds. Someone says crypto is the future. Someone else says crypto is gambling. One says pay all debt first. Another says invest while paying debt. And now you're sitting there like, okay, so do I save, invest, pay debt, buy insurance, start a business, or move to another country? This is where people get stuck, not because they are dumb, but because their financial life has no structure. A good money system answers simple questions. How much comes in? How much goes out? How much is saved? How much is invested? How much goes to debt? What is the next priority? Without a system, every payday becomes a negotiation with yourself. Should I save this money? Should I invest it? Should I pay debt? Should I treat myself? Should I buy that thing because I deserve it? And let's be honest, when you negotiate with yourself every payday, your wants usually have a better lawyer than your future. That's why automation and structure matter. When income comes in, you can divide it immediately. A portion for needs, a portion for debt, a portion for emergency fund, a portion for investments, a portion for guilt-free spending. This is not about being perfect. It is about reducing decisions, because the more decisions you need to make, the more chances you have to sabotage yourself. A system protects you from your mood. Some days you feel responsible. Some days you feel rich after one paycheck. Some days you feel sad, and suddenly online shopping becomes therapy. So don't rely only on motivation. Build a system that works even when you're not in the mood. Number 3. You are trying to invest before you are stable. The third reason people stay stuck is this. They try to build wealth before building stability. This is common now because investing is everywhere. Everyone talks about stocks, index funds, crypto, real estate, dividends, ETFs, and passive income. And yes, investing is important, but investing without stability can become stressful. Imagine this. You invest $100 every month. You feel proud. Then suddenly there's an emergency. Your phone breaks, medical bills appear, family needs help, car repair, house repair, job delay, unexpected expense. Now what happens? You withdraw your investment, maybe at a loss. Then you start again. Then another emergency happens. You withdraw again. Then you feel like investing doesn't work. But the real problem is not investing. The problem is you are using your investment account as an emergency fund. That's why stability comes first. Before wealth building, you need a financial defense. Not perfect, not huge, but enough to stop small emergencies from destroying your progress. Think of it like building a house. Investing is like adding more floors, but your emergency fund is the foundation. Debt management is also part of the foundation. Insurance, depending on your situation, can also be part of the foundation. If the foundation is weak, every storm damages the structure. Sometimes you are not just planning for yourself, you may also be helping parents, siblings, relatives, or household expenses. It can be student loans, medical costs, rent, car payments, or credit card debt. Same principle. You cannot build long-term wealth if every short-term emergency keeps pulling you back to zero. So before asking, what's the best investment, ask, can I survive the next emergency without selling my investment? If the answer is no, then your next best investment may not be a stock. It may be building cash reserves. The fourth reason is this. You underestimate small leaks. Most people think financial failure comes from one huge mistake. Sometimes it does, but often people stay stuck because of small leaks repeated for years. Subscriptions you forgot, random food delivery, convenience fees, impulse shopping, upgrade culture, buying things because they're only a few dollars. The problem is not one purchase. The problem is the pattern. One $5 purchase is not scary. But repeated every day, every week, every month, now it becomes serious. This is where people get defensive and say, so I can't enjoy life anymore? No, that's not the point. You should enjoy life. The problem is unconscious spending. Money should either give you value today or build value for tomorrow. But a lot of spending does neither. It just disappears. It doesn't make you happier, it doesn't make you healthier, it doesn't make you richer. It gives a tiny dopamine hit and then becomes clutter, regret, or another transaction you don't remember. Here's a simple test. Look at your last 30 days of spending and ask, which of these expenses actually improved my life? Not which expenses were necessary, not which expenses looked good. Which ones actually improved your life? You may be surprised. Some spending is worth it. Food with family? Maybe worth it. Health? Worth it. Tools for work? Worth it. Education could be worth it. But random purchases you forgot about after 2 days? That's a leak. And financial progress is not only about earning more, it is also about keeping more of what you already earn. Number 5. You want the result, but not the identity. The fifth reason is deeper. You want the financial result, but you haven't become the kind of person who produces that result. This sounds dramatic, but it's true. Many people say, I want to be financially free. I want passive income. I want to be debt-free. I want to invest long-term. But their daily identity says something else. They still see saving as punishment. They still see investing as optional. They still see budgeting as restrictive. They still feel embarrassed starting small. They still compare their Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20. The problem is not the goal. The problem is the identity. A person who builds wealth does not only ask, "How do I get rich?" They ask, "What habits does a financially stable person repeat?" Because wealth is not just an amount, it is a behavior pattern. A financially stable person may still enjoy life. They may still buy nice things. They may still travel. They may still eat out, but they do it within a structure. They don't let every emotion become a financial decision. They don't quit investing because the market had one bad month. They don't increase their lifestyle every time their income increases. They don't treat every sale as an opportunity to spend. They don't need to look rich every day. And this is important. Looking rich and becoming rich often require opposite behaviors. Looking rich says, "Buy the thing now so people can see it." Becoming rich says, "Build assets quietly so future you can benefit." Looking rich is loud. Building wealth is often boring. And boring works. Number 6. You are waiting for the perfect plan. The sixth reason financially aware people stay stuck is this. They wait for the perfect plan. They say, "I'll invest when I fully understand the market. I'll save when I earn more. I'll budget when life becomes less busy. I'll pay debt when I have extra money. I'll start when things are stable." But life rarely becomes perfectly stable. There is always something. A bill, a birthday, a family need, a repair, a market crash, a recession, inflation, a personal emergency, a random expense that appears like a villain in episode 9. If you wait for the perfect time, you may wait forever. The better approach is this. Start with an imperfect plan that you can actually repeat. For example, if you can't invest $200, invest $20. If you can't save 20%, save 5%. If you can't pay all debt quickly, pay more than the minimum. If you can't build a full emergency fund now, build the first month. Small progress is not embarrassing. Small progress is how big progress starts. A lot of people don't start because the amount feels too small. But small money invested consistently teaches you the habit. And the habit is more valuable than the first amount. Because once your income increases, the habit scales. If you can manage $50 well, you can learn to manage $500. But if you can't manage small money, bigger money may just create bigger leaks. Number 7. You don't have a clear next step. The seventh reason is simple. You don't know the next step. Not the next 20 steps, just the next one. Personal finance becomes overwhelming when you try to fix everything at once. Save money, pay debt, invest, get insurance, increase income, start a business, reduce expenses, build an emergency fund, learn taxes, plan retirement, protect your family. It becomes too much. So instead of doing everything, people do nothing. Here's a simple order that works for many people. First, know your numbers. How much do you earn? How much do you spend? How much debt do you have? How much do you own? Second, stop the bleeding. Cut the obvious leaks. Avoid new bad debt. Don't upgrade your lifestyle too fast. Third, build a small emergency fund. Not necessarily the full amount right away, just enough to create breathing room. Fourth, attack high-interest debt, especially credit card debt or loans with painful interest. Fifth, invest consistently for the long term. Index funds, retirement accounts, mutual funds, UITFs, or other diversified investments depending on your situation. Sixth, increase income, because there is a limit to how much you can cut, but there is more room to grow your skills, career, business, or side income. This order is not perfect for everyone, but the point is you need a sequence, because without a sequence, everything feels urgent, and when everything feels urgent, nothing moves. Number 8. The real reason you feel stuck. So let's bring it all together. You may not be stuck because you lack intelligence. You may not be stuck because you lack information. You may not even be stuck because you lack discipline. You may be stuck because your financial life has no repeatable engine. Awareness is the map. Your habits are the vehicle. Your system is the road. Your consistency is the fuel. And your patience is what keeps you from turning around too early. Most people quit because progress feels invisible at first. Saving your first $20 doesn't feel life-changing. Investing your first $100 doesn't make you rich. Paying a small part of your debt doesn't feel heroic. But these small actions are votes. Every time you save, you vote for stability. Every time you invest, you vote for future freedom. Every time you avoid useless debt, you vote for peace. Every time you track your money, you vote for control. And eventually, those votes become your identity. You stop being someone who is trying to be good with money. You become someone who handles money well. That is the shift. So, why are you financially aware but still not moving forward? Because awareness is not the finish line. It is the starting line. You don't need more random tips. You need a system. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You don't need to look rich. You need to build quietly. You don't need to solve your entire financial life today. You just need to take the next correct step. So here's your challenge. After this video, do one thing. Just one. Check your last 30 days of expenses. Set up an automatic savings transfer. Pay extra on one debt. Start or continue your emergency fund. Invest a small amount. Cancel one useless subscription. Write down your net worth. Do one thing that moves you forward. Because the people who win financially are not always the smartest. They're often the ones who keep doing the simple things long after the excitement is gone. If this video made you realize something, comment, "I need a system," and tell me which part hit you the most. Was it the spending leaks, the lack of action, the emergency fund, the waiting for the perfect plan, or the idea that looking rich and building wealth are not the same thing? And if you like simple finance explanations like this, consider subscribing, because here we don't make money more complicated than it needs to be. We make it clear, practical, and useful. Thanks for watching.